Hey everybody, and welcome to New Media Marketing. I want to cover a couple things in this welcome video. First, to welcome you and say hello. My name is Dr. John Reneski. I have a doctorate in leadership and educational technology. I have an MBA in technology management. That was my concentration. And I also have a business management degree and will very, very soon have a film degree. So that's my story in terms of my educational background. I've worked in the jewelry industry for a long time. I was an executive in the jewelry industry. I was an executive at Disney, and I've also had my own business. And I continue to have small businesses, small consulting and production company type businesses. So that's my story. And now let me tell you the story of media, because that's what this class is. It's new media. And the thing to understand is that media is simply a vessel. It holds content. And actually, if you go back to one of my favorite authors, he wrote a book called Understanding Media. Now, I said favorite authors. He wrote something that was really profound. There's a lot I don't like, but there's probably a lot of people that have things they don't like about me too, so I'm not going to hold a grudge. Marshall McLuhan. And Marshall McLuhan, his famous statement is, the medium is the message, meaning that when we look at the medium that's transmitting the content, we can often tell a lot about the character of the content. So let's talk about different media. Traditional media. There is, when I was a kid, we used to get newspapers. When I was a kid, TV used to be just 3 stations. Today, there's 1,000+ stations on my TV. It takes me 20 minutes to decide what I want to watch on a good day. Because I cut the cord. Whoa, what's that all about? So we've got TV that used to be an antenna, and kind of back to an antenna, and the internet as far as TV goes. But newspapers ultimately were replaced by what's known as a disruptive technology, which is television. And what makes a technology disruptive is that it is more expensive. And it is, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just doesn't provide the same amount of service. That's what a disruptive technology is. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, what the heck is a technology? Technology is an interesting word. It means it encapsulates the knowledge we have about how to do something. And when that knowledge is put into action, it creates a process. It doesn't have to be digital. Technology, propulsion technology back in the 17 and 1800s was a wheel and a horse attached to a carriage, right? That was technology. It was a process. It was a way to repeat things over and over again. So when you hear the word technology, and even I tend to immediately fall to the digital and computer type of technology. But technology really just means the knowledge to do something and to be able to repeat that over and over again, a process. So there you have what we talked about with regard to media. And know that media changes. And usually the new media ends up replacing the old media, and at least in terms of frequency of use. And as far as the go-to media, when I was a kid, we used to get 2 newspapers. Then we stopped getting newspapers, and everything was either TV or I could get it on the internet. And now, I just said, cutting the cord, right? I'm doing away with cable, and I'm streaming, which means I'm right on the internet. So those are a couple points to consider as we talk about new media. This course, I'm going to talk about marketing media very briefly. There's 3 types of marketing media. There is paid media, there's earned media, and then there is owned media. In this course, we primarily deal with earned media, even though we may have to pay for some of it. Don't let that confuse you, and we'll get more into that in week 1. But this is a focus on having other people tell our story versus having people say exactly what we want. So when we use an influencer, for example, we can't control what they're going to say, when they're going to say it, and how they're going to say it, even if we give them some money to talk about us, or we exchange some services for them to talk about us. We're having to earn the stories that they tell about us. And so that's kind of what we're doing in this class. We look at new media journalists, people that are telling stories. Maybe you're a restaurant and you want to reach out to a food blogger. That's a good example. I have one customer, one client. She was actually an actress in a couple of my music videos, and her brand is, I hate the brand, but it's the brand, Pizza Slut. And so we have people that normally write about food. We try and get her stories on their social media pages, on their websites, on their blogs, and so forth. That's what an influencer is. The other type is a brand ambassador. And brand ambassadors are a combination of they've already been a customer and they're probably a fan, right? But they also have some skills with regard to social media or blogging or whatnot. They don't have to be as profound as the influencer, because we're going to bring them along in that general direction. So that's what we're doing from the big picture. But let me break it down a little bit further. This is really the first class, and if you've watched any of my other videos in my introduction, you know that I talk about being in a master's program as being in a program that focuses on strategy. And strategy is the ability to get from point A to point B. And the strategy are the tools that we use, or the pillars that we build in order to do that. As you go through your program, each course is pretty much going to be a tool set that you're going to use in order to move from point A to point B. And what is point A and point B? Well, point A, current state, point B, where we want to be, and that is the goal state. So one of the first things we need to learn in a master's program is about goal setting. And since we're dealing with marketing, I'm going to tell you right away what the 4 types of top tier goals are that you will always be able to go back to and use. Even though you may find articles that say, hey, the 37 top marketing goals for 2021, they can all be boiled down into just 4. And those 4 are, you ready for this? Number 1, brand awareness or brand lift. Number 2, we've got to get people interested and engaged. So number 2 is engagement or lead generation. Number 3, we got to sell them something. We got to get them on contract. We want them to be buying from us, or we go out of business. So number 3 is conversion. And number 4, brand advocacy. Why brand advocacy? Because if we spend the same amount of money to capture every single client down the road that we spent to capture the first one, we'll go bankrupt. Brand ambassadorships are a way to reduce the acquisition cost of a client. And so it's extremely important. So that's what those are the goals, and we want to make them SMART. Now, SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Well, I already told you what relevant is. It's got to be one of those 4 at the top tier. And when we say a goal is a SMART goal, it has to have all those 5 attributes to it. Let me give you an example. I want to increase sales by 50%. Better yet, let's start before that. I want to increase sales. Is that a goal? No. I got to put a number to it. I want to increase sales by 50%. Yeah, it's a goal. It's not SMART, but it's a goal because it has a quantified number. Let's make it SMART. I want to increase my monthly sales by 4% by the end of December. Specific, it's measurable, it's dollars in the register, or it could be cart conversions, right? Because I'm not saying I need to actually, to make it truly SMART, I need to come back and say, am I looking at transactions or am I looking at dollars, right? That would be a better approach. I want to increase the number of transactions, of sale transactions, specific. I want to increase the number of sale transactions by 4% by the end of December. So it's conversion. I know it's going to be relevant. It's specific. It's measurable. I can measure it from my web analytics and looking at the conversion on my cart from whether I'm using Adobe or Google Analytics or some other middleware. All that works fine. And then it's time bound. I've given a timeline, which is the end of December. Don't get into the habit of saying, I'm going to give you some SMART goals. I'm going to give you some measurable goals. I'm going to give you some attainable goals. What you're telling me is that the attainable goals aren't necessarily measurable, or the relevant goals, they're neither measurable or attainable. Now, every goal has to have all 5 attributes, okay? What we're doing in week 1 is we are going to create a marketing plan. Basically, we're going to create marketing goals, right? Based on what I just told you. And we're going to create macros and micros. What's a micro goal or a second tier goal? Well, when I take that goal I just gave you, increasing sales transactions by 4% by the end of December, if I ask the question, how am I going to do that? The answer to how, so whatever tactics I come up with, if I take those tactics and turn them into a SMART goal, I now have my macro and I have my micro goals. By the way, that's what you need to do in week 1, okay? If you don't do a good job of it in week 1, I have you do it again in week 2, because you got to get it right. But ideally, you want to get it done in week 1. All right. The second thing that we're doing, and this will come into play in week 3. Week 3, we are going to actually create the campaign. Weeks 3 and 4 are campaign oriented. We create the campaign goals and the plan, and then in week 4 we want to create the measurement plan, which is part of the campaign plan. So we have campaign goals, we have a measurement plan, and now we're ready to roll. So you will be working on marketing plan type goals in weeks 1 and 2. 3 and 4, you're going to be working on campaign plan. The other thing that we're adding into this is the need to build personas, and personas are important because personas then let you figure out the customer journey. And we do that in week 1. In week 2, you actually take your template for your persona for either an influencer or a brand ambassador, and you go out and you go shopping. You go looking for you look for a number of people on the internet that meet your persona. And then your plan will be how you recruit them, okay? Don't have to deal with recruiting them in week 2. We just have to identify them. So that's it. Week 1, goals and personas. Week 2, identifying the real people. And week 3, we begin the influencer campaign. And week 4, we talk about how we're going to measure it. And so by the time you're done, you have a complete plan, influencer plan that you can present along with your marketing plan. Think about that. Pretty cool. All right, that's all I got for you. If you have any questions, check out the week 1 video first, and then you can certainly call me or text me at 407-267-8600. For me, that works better than the system if you go through FSO. But if you go through FSO, I'll more than likely find the message. Just know if it's something that you need an answer on and you need it within a time frame, it's time bound, go ahead and text me. I'm not going to bite your head off. As you can tell, I've had my own family go through the program. I'm going to give you the same experience that they had. Well, I'm not going to cook you dinner, but I'll answer your questions just as quickly. Okay? This is Dr. John. Welcome to New Media Marketing.